At the beginning of this week's Parasha of Mishpatim, we find the words Ve'ele HaMishpatim, and these are the laws. Rashi, quoting from the Mechilta, explains that the reason that this parasha begins with the Vav, the and, is because it is trying to equate the laws of this parasha, laws which seem to be similar to civil laws, with the previous section, the Revelation and the Aseret HaDibrot, the words of the Mechilta. This prefix, this Vav HaChibur, indicates that just as the earlier ones were given at Sinai, so too were the later ones given at Sinai. The Torah, in essence, seeks to emphasize that just as HaKadosh Baruch Hu declared the Ten Commandments from atop of Har Sinai, so did he convey to Moshe all of the laws of Parashat Mishpatim from atop Har Sinai. To explain this comment of the Mechilta, the Or HaChaim HaKadosh draws an association between this idea of the Mechilta that is mentioned in the name of Rabbi Yishmael, and a statement that Rabbi Yishmael makes in Masechet Zvachim Andaf Kuf Tetvav Amud Bet in the Gemara. There, Rabbi Yishmael is said to have suggested that only the klalot, the generalities of the Torah's commandments, were taught to Moshe Rabbeinu atop Har Sinai, whereas the details of all the mitzvot were taught by HaKadosh Baruch Hu to Moshe Rabbeinu later in the Mishkan. This, of course, is in contrast to the view of Rabbi Akiva, as the Gemara there cites, which maintained that Moshe Rabbeinu was taught not only the generalities of Torah, but all of the details on Har Sinai, and then it was repeated to Moshe in the Mishkan. The Or HaChaim, however, suggests that Rabbi Yishmael drew a distinction in this regard between the laws presented in our parasha and all of the other commandments of the Torah. That whereas generally the details of mitzvot were not conveyed to Moshe, according to Rabbi Yishmael, until the Mishkan was built, the details of the laws in this parasha of Mishpatim were taught already atop Har Sinai. And thus the Mechilta is trying to teach us, when they quote Rabbi Yishmael as saying, just as the earlier ones were given from Sinai, so the later ones were given from Sinai, to mean that the laws of Mishpatim were presented to Moshe in detail atop Har Sinai, just as the Ten Commandments were spoken from Mount Sinai. The other mitzvot, by contrast, were conveyed to him only in their generalities, until after the Mishkan's construction, when HaKadosh Baruch Hu taught Moshe all of their specific details. But why should Mishpatim earn that right to have all of its details, just like the Aseret HaDibrot, taught on Sinai? Perhaps the answer there can be found in a famous comment of the Meiri at the beginning of Pirkei Avot. The Meiri questions, why is it that Pirkei Avot is specifically the section of Torah Sheba'al Peh that begins with the Mesorah of Moshe, Kibel Torah Sinai, etc., that Moshe received the Torah from Sinai, gave it to Yoshua, gave it to the Zkanim, etc., etc. Why do we want to emphasize that when it comes to the question of our ethical responsibilities, the Pirkei Avot theme? And the Meiri explains, because we need to understand that the Pirkei Avot, the ethics of Pirkei Avot, are just as much of Torah as the details of religious observance. And maybe here too, we need to understand that Mishpatim, the areas of law that often people relegate to just necessary aspects of a just society, those things that often are referred to as civil law, are just as much a part of our religious life as a Jew as was the moment at Sinai when HaKadosh Baruch Hu revealed himself to all of the Jewish people.